You're listening to the Around the Huddle podcast, powered by PAC-Hub. Around the Huddle, college sports beyond the game.
Hello and welcome in to another episode of the Around the Huddle podcast, where we talk about college sports beyond the game. This is episode 19. It's been a great few months so far and a lot of awesome episodes to come, including today's show. So we appreciate you all tuning in. As always, my name is John Gross. We're going to have a great chat today. This, I think, is going to be one of, if not our best discussions that we have. Somebody who I've gotten to know really well over the last year or so, and she is truly a legend. I don't use that term lightly, but she truly is a legend. Before we get to our guest today, our discussion today, a reminder that we are powered by PAC-Hub. Take a look at the bottom of your screen, pac-hub.com. If you are a student athlete and you enter the NCAA portal, right? You might be wondering, how can I stand out? How can coaches find me? How can I connect with coaches? PAC-Hub is the answer. By entering the PAC-Hub portal, a page is created where it comes up with your name, obviously, but your statistics, your bio information, your measurables, academic info, basically a bunch of different specifications that allow coaches to find you. And then from the coach's perspective, similar thing. Rather than just parsing through the transfer portal where you see the name and the NCAA ID and nothing else and having to look beyond that for more info, PAC-Hub is a one-stop shop. It allows you to search by specification. If you want that right-handed pitcher, if you want that quarterback, right? Whatever it is, you can find that missing piece in PAC-Hub. So take a look, bottom of your screen, pac-hub.com. A huge thanks to all of them for their support. And another reminder to subscribe, like, and comment on our videos. By subscribing, you will be updated every time that we post new content. By liking and commenting, it also helps us get more traction so we can get more viewers, get more awesome guests like our guest today. So make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Okay, we've had some great guests on this podcast. We had Sam Finkel last week, a sports attorney who broke down the House settlement. We've had coaches, we've had athletic directors, we've had conference commissioners. We have not had anybody quite like our guest today. I'll put it like this. If I were to list off all of her accolades, I think we would take up the entire 30-minute episode just on that. But I'll sum it up with just a few of the big ones. Honda Award winner, All-American, two-time national champion at the University of Florida, one of 3 players to win the College World Series Most Outstanding Player and the USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year, and one of just 2 players in the history of college softball, college baseball, and Major League Baseball with 70 or more career home runs and 70 or more career wins. Babe Ruth is one. The other is our guest today, one of the all-time great college softball players, the one and only Lauren Haeger. Lauren, thank you so much for hopping on today. Really appreciate your time.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Great to see you. And just for full disclosure, Lauren and I have gotten to know each other in the past year working on broadcasts together, ESPN Plus stuff at Queens. Even though she just got her broadcast start last year, she's a pro. So I'm sure today is going to be an awesome discussion. Before we dive into some of the nitty gritty and the changes in this college softball landscape and the amazing growth of the sport, I want to start with you. We touched on your accolades and your amazing career at Florida. And because of that outstanding career, you were just announced as a member of the Florida Hall of Fame. I know the induction is coming up. So first of all, congratulations on that. Not that it's a surprise from anybody that you were inducted, deservedly so, but what was your reaction when you found out that news?
Well, I'd say this to everybody, but it makes me feel old. I can't believe it's 10 years since I got done playing college softball for Florida. In an incredible program and university where greatness is just what they do and what they expect. So to be considered in the Hall of Fame with all of these amazing athletes that have come out of the University of Florida is pretty incredible. And it was emotional, but it was also really cool, but it also made me feel old.
Well, it truly was a legendary career. And as you said, Florida is a place of winners. You think of the great athletes across so many different sports, softball included. So again, congratulations on that. Let's get everybody up to speed as to what you're doing now. You are doing a few different things in the softball world. So break it down for us.
Yeah, so I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina, which I'm on year 7, which is crazy. And I work and give lessons full time at a facility called the Softball Project. Another Gator owns it. Her name is Kelsey Bruder, now Kelsey Brinson. She moved to Charlotte, I think 10 years ago now, and started giving lessons, opened her own facility. I was still playing pro at the time, so giving lessons is something you can do out of season where you can just like leave in the middle of summer to go play. So I just been giving lessons, and she asked if I wanted to work there, and I moved to Charlotte randomly. A lot of people just wonder how I got there. I'm not from Florida. Everyone thinks I'm from Florida. I'm from Arizona. So it is kind of random that I'm there. But I also coach travel ball in the Team North Carolina organization. I have for 5 years. Our head coach's name and our team is Team North Carolina. So Team NC Hind, with Kevin Hind and his daughters on the team. And it's been a fun 5 years. It's been an eventful 5 years. I've learned a lot in these 5 years coaching travel ball. On the other side of, the ball it's been fun to be on the field and in the facility trying to, to see success in both ways. So that's just what I'm up to, traveling around all summer, and I'm only at home for 8 days in July, and that's just how it is coaching travel ball in the summer.
Always on the road, that's for sure. Do your players have an idea, an appreciation of the player that you were at Florida?
Yes, but I think the girls that I'm coaching now were 10 years old when I played my senior year at Florida. So a lot of them truly don't really know. I'm not in Florida either. So we have a couple Gator fans, but not a ton. I generally work with the pitchers. I mostly give pitching lessons where I work at TSP, just because I feel like it's definitely more of the need in Charlotte, and that's kind of just how I fell in that. And I've really fallen in love with it. I've been able to be creative and all that kind of stuff. But so the girls on my team often don't realize that I hit in college. I've had a few of them, ask, Coach Lauren, did you hit? And I was like, yeah, I hit like a little bit. But I primarily work with the pitchers. Yeah, so which I love. I love being a pitching coach per se, and I get to put my input in hitting too, but they were so little when I was playing, so they kind of know who I am with a quick Google search, but they didn't really get to watch. So that kind of sucks, but just means I'm old and it's okay.
I would say just open up YouTube, search your name, and you will find highlights for days.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, okay, this is a very timely episode because the College World Series just ended. Congratulations to Texas on winning the title. An awesome season, fantastic College World Series. We saw drama, we saw Appendix G, and everybody learning all about that. But I want to give some numbers here in terms of the growth of this sport, because this is one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on. We talked about the changing landscape of college athletics, and I feel like softball is that next sport that is just skyrocketing right now. Here are some numbers for you. The Softball College World Series has had at least 1 million viewers in the final for 5 straight years. This year was the most watched final, peaking at about 2.7 million watching Game 3. That is the most watched college softball game ever. The College World Series in general averaged over 1 million viewers per game. Across the country, we've seen attendance skyrocket exponentially in recent years. More people talking about the sport, more people investing in facilities, boosters, donors, giving to programs, giving to athletes. I say that to say college softball is on the rise. What is your assessment of where this sport is right now on June 19th, 2025?
I think it's where it should be. I think it's where it should be, and it should have been 20 years ago. It's an amazing sport that a lot of people somehow get surprised and they watch that they love it. I think that there's, people and, athletes and families and people in all different sports that tune into softball, whether they have a daughter or anything in it. I just feel like it's booming to where it should be. It's fast paced. There's, stories. They're just incredible athletes that deserve the highest stage. That's 100% true. It's really hard to play softball alongside baseball, 2 of the hardest sports I think ever. And so it's really cool to see, famous people and celebrities and everyone tuning in. And it's where it should be. And it's really cool to, feel like I get to watch now as a fan and get to appreciate it in that sense too.
What do you think has led to this exponential growth in popularity of the sport in recent years?
Oh my gosh. I mean, just the opportunities that ESPN has given the sport is obviously wonderful. Like getting to play. I mean, when I was a kid, I only got to watch like the Women's College World Series and or just the championship series on ESPN. And that's insane that almost every single game these schools play now are on ESPN Plus, and you can watch every single one of them. I remember my family having to subscribe and pay for Gator Vision to like watch some of my games that weren't on ESPN, which there were some, right? Like we were a great team in the country, like one of the greatest teams in the country at that time. And so we got some of those ESPN games, but my parents are still getting on their laptops on Gator Vision just to watch me play. So it's just, it's really cool. But I mean, they're hardworking, tough, fun to watch women. And I think that should be celebrated in every sense. And it's just exactly where it should be. And it's just been fun to watch.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the PAC-Hub's AI specialists. Today, I want to show you why PAC-Hub is the ultimate platform for college baseball players looking to transfer to a new college program. First, let's take a look at our extensive network of coaches. With over 150 coaches actively using our system, you have a huge pool of experts to connect with. Imagine having access to all these experienced coaches searching for talent like yours. You even have the ability to connect with any of these coaches via our internal messaging system. This means more opportunities to showcase your skills and find the perfect new team. Now let's switch gears and see things from a coach's perspective. Coaches can easily search for athletes by position or stat. Let's say I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher with good pitching stats. With just a few clicks, I can find top-performing pitchers who meet my criteria. This efficient search functionality ensures that coaches find the perfect fit for their teams and athletes get matched with opportunities that suit their strengths. PAC-Hub is all about connecting talent with opportunity. Whether you're an athlete looking to transfer to a new college team or a coach searching for the next star player, PAC-Hub has the tools you need to succeed. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of this amazing community. Join PAC-Hub today and take the next step in your baseball journey. Visit www.pac-hub.com to sign up now.
You talk about the growth of streaming and of broadcasting. I think that your era of college softball, kind of the early to mid 2010s, is where, for my opinion, the sport took off in that regard, right? Like more games were on TV. That was where streaming really started to pick up steam. As a player, did you feel that at all when you were at Florida, that, hey, we have a lot more eyeballs on us now nationally?
I think so. It was really cool when you get to get ready for your first ESPN game. I think that was a big deal because not every game was on. And I think our whole lives were online, right? Like, right. We had Twitter just became a thing and Instagram just became a thing when I got into college. So, I mean, I had Facebook that ages me a little bit, like in high school, and MySpace, but I think the world was starting to just go online more. And like, I think that was a big part of that push to where if we have access to it, like we're going to watch it. And I think that they've just kind of built on that throughout this entire process of like, oh, there's this many people watching. Oh, well, let's stream it on this platform. Oh, we want to get on this and we want to get in on this. And I think that's just, it's been amazing. But it is, when we played on, ESPN for the first time, like that's terrifying as a 20-year-old. Now they're so used to it. But I think back then as a 19-year-old getting to play on ESPN the first time was like the coolest thing ever. And I have, friends back home tagging me in Facebook posts that they saw me on TV and all this kind of stuff. It's what you dream about. I dreamed about, playing at the Women's College World Series, and I watched it when I was younger and I replicated everything that I saw them do. So it was just cool to be on the other side of that. And it was just joy, a little bit of nervousness, like a little bit of nervous, but it was just really cool to have everyone be able to watch me from that far away.
And I guess, like you kind of just said, now every game is broadcast. So I wonder if these current athletes have those same nerves because they're, on TV all the time at this point, or streaming all the time. You also touched on growing up. You're from Arizona. You played at the University of Florida. Now you live in Charlotte and you work in the Carolinas. I'd love to get your thoughts on the growth of the game in terms of maybe not being as geographically centric to specific areas of the country. You've had the opportunity now to work or live or play in 3 different parts of the country. What can you say just in terms of the growth and popularity of softball around the country, not just on the West Coast and in SEC country?
Yeah, but even I guess for me too, like being in Arizona and being from Arizona, you watch Arizona and UCLA play for the national championship every single year. And then my, 8th grade freshman year, you started seeing Georgia and Florida and all these other universities, LSU, like from, the SEC come into the Women's College World Series. And that's the very first time I ever saw Florida. It was just, I wasn't a Gator fan. No one in my family was a Gator fan. So it's not like I had ties to the university or was dreaming about going there, but that's where I saw them the first time. And so I think that I was also in that, in that era of the shift of like what the Southeast started to become with softball and the popularity down here. And it's a powerhouse, and the teams that we play are just stacked and loaded with girls that are going Power 4 and that are strong, and they also get to play the sport all year round. So I also gave lessons in Massachusetts. That was very different. I lived there for a year when it came to the culture of softball, but at the end of the day, the South, it's blowing up and it's moving north, and it's so exciting to see. But being in Charlotte, I would say it's still sometimes a little bit of a struggle. I would say that for high schools to fill a softball team, for whatever reason, I feel like there's, lacrosse and field hockey and some of these other sports that I didn't have in Arizona or on the West Coast. And so maybe a lot of girls are playing kind of other sports too. But in Charlotte specifically, in the last 6 years that I've been there, it also has grown. And that's been really cool to see. But when I first got there, it was definitely different. It was definitely different for me. And like a little bit of a shock of like, we're not in the North, we're not on the West Coast, we're in the South. So it should feel like we should be playing this sport all year round. And even in the last 6 years, it's just grown so much. So, some high schools are getting a JV and a varsity now, and private schools are being able to fill their roster every single year, which has been cool. I just feel like there's more curiosity towards the sport in Charlotte, and people are jumping on board, and that's been really cool to see.
Do you think that any of that growth in Charlotte and that surrounding area could come from Clemson and Duke now having programs, and those programs having the success that they've had in recent years as well?
1000%. I think that, you think about those schools, and me living there, like people who are Duke fans and how many Clemson football fans there are. And like, if you can, put a softball team at a school like that, people are going to be fans. And I think that that's been really, really cool, because there are tons of Clemson football and tons of Duke basketball, and even football. They've had a few good seasons in the last, 5 years or so. So that's a great point. And I think that that's 100% true.
You also touched on working in Massachusetts for some time. Just a quick aside, this past, I guess, about a month ago, I did the Patriot League softball championships, and Boston University won the championship, and they've had a fantastic program. So again, that's one of those teams that's not in one of those traditional states, one of those traditional regions that is having success. And Casey Ricard is one of the best pitchers in America, and she's a pitcher for Boston U. So there you go, the growth of the sport nationwide.
No, yeah, 100%. And to be honest, like, who wouldn't want to live in Boston? Like, what a cool place. Like, yeah, you're going to be inside a lot of the time, but you're going to be a lot inside in Washington. You're going to be inside a lot in Oregon. So it's kind of like, if they can make it work, I feel like the Northeast is right there. And Boston University has also been really good in softball in the last couple years or so. And I'm sure I'm missing some. This wasn't on my radar too, to like freshen up on my Northeast softball statistics. But it was different when I was up there, because I would, see girls through October, and then they'd be like, hey, we'll see you in March. And I'm like, what do you mean? You just get stopped playing this winter? And that's been interesting. They're sitting there telling me, I want to play in the South. I want to be in the Southeast in college. I want to do all these things. Like, how much did you practice? And I'm like, 6 days a week, all the time, my whole life. And then I wouldn't see them for a few months. And so I hope that culture is changing a little bit. I was only there for, a year, but, what an incredible city to just live and go to school in. So I'm glad that softball is like, moving up there and being really competitive, because it should be in every single state in this whole entire country. It's just fun.
And I know Boston U just got a new turf field, so they just had Kentucky go up there and play there, and they could play outside for longer. So yeah, certainly some growth in the Northeast for college softball. So on this show, we talk about the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, because in recent years, things have changed, and it is like night and day compared to when you played, which in the grand scheme of things was not long ago at all. The big storyline coming out of this college softball season was Nigel Kennedy, which he did at Texas Tech, $1 million NIL deal, according to ESPN, with Texas Tech. I mean, I think back a few years ago, the big story in the softball world when it comes to $1 million contract was Monica Abbott getting that as a pro player. Now Nigel Kennedy gets that as a college player. And I mean, the return on investment was evident. Texas Tech has its best season ever, gets to the College World Series for the first time ever, gets to the final against an in-state rival. And since the end of the season, Coach Glasgow, he's just brought in more transfer players, and it seems like Texas Tech is all in on softball. So just would love to kind of get your thoughts on this era of college softball when it comes to the portal and the NIL side of things, and what impact that has had on the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely raises some, it puts attention on our sport, which I love. It's exactly what, I feel like women and women's sports deserve. Obviously, like, I'm a huge proponent for the fact that, I mean, I played pro, and it was a rough time, I would say, like, in the pro league, when it comes to, like, you hearing that someone in college gets $1 million and you're playing pro for a summer and making like $3,000. So I don't know. I think that obviously I'm so excited for our sport in that regard. I think that when things happen so quickly, right, like, it can be a little bit shocking for everyone, and I don't think everyone really knows how to move correctly all the time. And money talks, obviously, in the world that we live in today. And so it's honestly happened so fast that I kind of feel like an old person. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like this isn't what college sports are, what I grew up watching. So it's been a little bit interesting to kind of get used to. But I will say, we deserve to be paid, and we deserve all these things. There needs to be rules. There needs to be things that I think that it happens so quickly that sometimes it's hard to implement that stuff and kind of figure it out. So I think that's where softball is right now. But at the end of the day, it's only getting people's attention. And I think that that's awesome for what this sport deserves. That's for sure.
And if you want to learn about some of those new rules when it comes to NIL, go watch our last episode with Sam Finkel. We break down the brand new house settlement. We touch on all of those aspects of NIL in that show. Nigel Kennedy, $1 million contract, was a pitcher for the first couple of years. This year really showed off for bat as well, in addition to, again, being the best pitcher in America. Sounds kind of familiar to what you did back in the day. Have you given any thought as to any NIL deals that you would have liked to have had as a player at Florida?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know. Like, I don't never even thought about that. It's hard to think about when you've never been offered that much money in your whole entire life. That's something I can't speak from experience about. But at the end of the day, I think what I was able to accomplish at Florida, I really think back, and I think I make a joke about, like, I'm a pioneer, right? Like, if it wasn't for the girls before me, the girls, the women before me, the women playing when I played, and the women, right after I played to now, like, none of this would be possible. And so I really just try to value the priceless things that I got when I was at Florida, when it comes to 2 national championships and the opportunity to be in the Hall of Fame, and just how pure of a time it was. But at the end of the day, again, I've never been offered that much money, but NIL deal would have been awesome. I think it's true because I come from a family of teachers. It's not like my family had a lot of money. My brother never played sports or anything like that. So, I mean, any college kid, that would have helped so much. I didn't have a car at college. I didn't have anything like that. So I didn't have a car in high school. So I don't know. All those things you think about now and you're like, dang, that would have made it a lot easier. I was eating ramen. I was eating ramen in my apartment, 1,000%. And that's crazy to think about. But brands and stuff specifically, I have no idea. I don't even know what I liked back then. God, that was so long ago.
Was there a favorite restaurant in Gainesville?
I mean, Dunkin' Donuts. I say that I was obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts. I think that like Dunkin' Donuts was my ride or die. So if I'm going to say any, I'm going to say Dunkin'. So,
Okay.
I mean, the best thing I ever did for myself was talk about Dunkin' Donuts in like a YouTube video that our video photographer person, her name is Jade. She does all the stuff for AUSL now. She was an intern with the Charge when I played for the Charge, and she did like a follow me around day. And we went to Dunkin' and I talked about Dunkin' and all this stuff. So now my lessons sometimes bring me Dunkin' Donuts gift cards. So
that is
that's the best
amazing.
thing I ever did for myself there. But
Well, look, it's not too late. Maybe Dunkin' can come out and give you an NIL deal.
that's what I've been fighting for that for so long.
Yes. If there's anybody from Dunkin' watching out there, we just touched on Boston, right? Dunkin's from up
Period.
there. So,
Yes.
let's bring it all together. Lauren Haeger, the official spokesperson for Dunkin' Donuts.
I wish that's in another lifetime, I think, for me, but I'm a pioneer. That's okay.
Yes, that is for sure. The impact you made on Florida, tremendous. And as I said before, I feel like it was your era of college softball when you and the Gators won a couple of championships. You made such an impact in the sport that coincided with the increase in broadcasts and ESPN and in streaming, that the current players would not be where they are if it was not for your crop of players, your generation doing what you did. So the impact certainly goes beyond the dollar signs. No doubt about that. What do you?
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm one of the PAC-Hub's AI specialists. Today, I want to show you why PAC-Hub is the ultimate platform for college baseball players looking to transfer to a new college program. First, let's take a look at our extensive network of coaches. With over 150 coaches actively using our system, you have a huge pool of experts to connect with. Imagine having access to all these experienced coaches searching for talent like yours. You even have the ability to connect with any of these coaches via our internal messaging system. This means more opportunities to showcase your skills and find the perfect new team. Now let's switch gears and see things from a coach's perspective. Coaches can easily search for athletes by position or stat. Let's say I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher with good pitching stats. With just a few clicks, I can find top-performing pitchers who meet my criteria. This efficient search functionality ensures that coaches find the perfect fit for their teams and athletes get matched with opportunities that suit their strengths. PAC-Hub is all about connecting talent with opportunity. Whether you're an athlete looking to transfer to a new college team or a coach searching for the next star player, PAC-Hub has the tools you need to succeed. Don't miss out on the chance to be part of this amazing community. Join PAC-Hub today and take the next step in your baseball journey. Visit www.pac-hub.com to sign up now.
What do you view as the next step in the growth of softball in general? Obviously, the pro leagues, AUSL, a lot of hype with that. We've talked about the growth of college softball as well. Is there anything else that you still want to see related to the sport happen?
I think from a professional standpoint, like, I just hope people can truly make a living from this. Like, I hope that you're not having to leave your teaching job and to go play professionally in the summer. And when you're at your teaching job or whatever you're doing in the off season, you're having to train on your own. You're having to pitch on your own and practice on your own and do all these things on your own. And I truly just hope it becomes something that you can do full time after college sports. I think that when that happens, I'm just going to be like, it's happening. Like, this is what it should have been a long time ago. But I mean, the MLB is so old. It takes time for things like this to happen, and the hype and everything that needs to come around it for it to happen and be a smart business decision for people, right? There's money in this, and that's part of it, and that's okay. But I think that it's just going to be really cool when someone gets to leave college and gets to do this all year round, trained by the best people, getting the best, care afterwards and taking care of their bodies and not having to do all this stuff on their own. I think is going to be something I would be really excited to see in the future.
We will end with this because we always like to have some advice on the show. You do, as we touched on before, currently coach high school student athletes, many of whom have gone on to play collegiately. So what advice would you have for any high school athlete, any young softball player out there who is getting recruited? What advice would you have as they navigate the recruiting process?
There's a lot of things I feel like I could say, but at the end of the day, I had truly an amazing college experience because I found where I was supposed to be right away. And I think that I don't think I would have been able to accomplish all the things that I did. When I look back, I don't think I would have been able to have the career that I did. I don't think that I would have learned the things that I've learned. I don't think that I would have been able to make the same mistakes that I made if I didn't choose where my home was for the long haul. And so, I mean, that makes it better for everybody, from a coach's perspective, from a fan's perspective, from, your teammates' perspective, everything. When you get to be at a university for as long as possible, I think that there's something to that, but that goes for finding what's important to you, what you want in a college experience, what is best for you, and just and only you. I think figuring out the coaches that are going to help you become the best softball player you can be is exactly what I went into my process with. And I just wanted to go somewhere where I could max out how good I could possibly be. And by the end of my 4 years, I hit that. And so it wasn't my freshman year, and it wasn't my sophomore year, and it wasn't my junior year. And so I feel really lucky that I got to do that and that I had a great experience. So that's easy for me to say, but at the end of the day, finding a home that's best for you is truly still the best advice that I can give. And to be around people that you want to be around every day and you get to have in your corner for the rest of your life, those have no value. That is that is priceless. And so you can think about all the money and you can do all that stuff aside, but at the end of the day, we're all just people. And I think that sports gave me everything I needed for the rest of my life when it comes to things that don't have a price tag. And that's something you should think about, as well as everything else you deserve in this process. So that would be my biggest advice, is treat people right, tell the truth, make sure you're trying to find your home in the best way possible, and give the game everything, because it will reward you in so many more ways than I could even explain.
Wise words of wisdom from one of the all-time greats. Lauren Haeger, thank you so much for your time today and your insight, and best of luck coaching this weekend. Go get some wins and bring home a trophy.
Thank you. It was so nice talking to you.
Thank you again. And once again, Lauren Haeger, one of the all-time greats as a player and such an awesome person as well. We appreciate her time and insight. We appreciate your time sticking with us today. Hope you all took something out of this episode. I know I certainly did. A reminder, take a look bottom of your screen, pac-hub.com. Check out PAC-Hub if you're in the portal. You want to find that next stop, you want to make that connection, or if you are a coach and you want that missing piece, take a look, pac-hub.com. A reminder, subscribe to our YouTube page, like and comment our videos. Helps you get notified when we do post new content and helps us get more visibility. Thanks again for joining us. We will talk to you soon. This has been the Around the Huddle podcast, powered by PAC-Hub.